Is it working? Hello. So we're waiting for it to process. Oh, all right. I think we are live. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, my beautiful, beloved creators. Happy Monday. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Dr. Carrie, and this is where we come together to lift our vibrations, align with our highest and best selves, and create our ideal realities. So, get your favorite cup, get cozy, and let's talk about self-worth today. So I have my oops, my own camera. I have my self-stirring mug. I am drinking my favorite mushroom coffee with the creme brulee creamer. A little ASMR. And so self-worth. It's been interesting the things that have been coming at me, around me, you know, showing up in my life as examples of self-worth. The other day, I think I saved it. The other day, I got an interesting, scrolling through the memes as you do, those type things. And it said, of course, I'm not going to be able to find it, right? Why can't I find it? Now I'm here talking about it. I thought it was just the other day. Well, here's a cute little thing. Do you really want to look back on your life and see how wonderful it could have been had you not been afraid to live it? Here's a quote by Carolyn Mays. I love her. So think about that real quick. As I guess we won't worry about it. Anyway, the point was that perfection is a mask for low self-worth. So all these people who are trying to be perfectionists are really just, it's called an away from value, or there's a term you can call it, is an away from value. So meaning you have a value, so in core values of your life, your foundations that you're built on, and sometimes we have those values that so if we call ourselves perfectionists, it's because we have this low self-worth. So it's an away from. Hi, good morning. Say hello when you jump on. So we want to talk about self-worth in the sense of, do we all know that we have what our self-worth is? Do we know what we're worth? Do we know that we have value? And how so? And I think this is an opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think about this opinion. If you have high self-esteem, no, let me say this backwards. If you have low self-esteem, low self-worth, and you look at people with high self-esteem, you think they're snobby or bitchy or stuck up, or that was the big one. My generation. I don't know what you guys call it right now. It's like, oh, they're so stuck up. It's like Paris in early 2000s. Like, ugh, that's hot. It's like, what did we call her? She was too into herself. She was stuck up. She was this, but no, that girl knew her value, and she played up on it, of course, but she knew she had self-worth. She knew she was worth something. She charges $1 million to DJ right now. It's like, when you think of Paris Hilton, do you think of a DJ? No, I don't even know where she would go, but that's what she does, and she's making a lot of money doing it. So, another thing that I just had a wonderful conversation, and he mentioned that you can find out your self-worth about how you shop. And I am one of those people, I do not like to shop for myself. I don't like to spend money on myself. Maybe that's the difference. You know, it's like, okay, what is your self-worth? Will you see something you want and buy it? Not something you need, not something for the family, not something for your children, not something for your husband, not something for significant other, not something for this. You see something and you buy it responsibly. You know, now there's the other thing where you're a shopaholic and you just buy, and you don't care what you're buying, you're just buying it. So that's another, you know, that's another whole nother issue. But today we're talking about self-worth. And if you have a hard time spending money on yourself for something that you want, and I do this, I will constantly talk myself out of it. Now, I think I've shared with you guys back, growing up, in my opinion, we had limited funds. And when I would go shopping, my mom would always say, oh, you don't need that. Oh, you don't need that. Oh, you don't need that. So I've talked to her about it recently, and she said, well, my point was you don't need that, so save it on something that you really, really want. But I never heard that part of the conversation. I just heard, you don't need that, you don't need that, you don't need that. So now, whenever I want to buy something for myself, what do I hear? Oh, I don't need that. It's like, but yeah, but I want it. Yeah, but I don't need it. And I won't buy it, right? Or I will, you know, I'll look at it and then I'll go back and I'll say, if it's meant to be, if it's still there, it was meant to be. And then, of course, I still talk myself out of it. I have this one friend, she would tell me the story about how she would see something and then wait for it. You know, she would go visit it every week. And this was just like a clothing item, a shirt, you know, nothing, not even, I'm not talking about a house or furniture or a big piece of things. It was just everything that she wanted to buy. She would see it on the not for sale rack and then visit it every week until it went to the sale rack. And not just the sale rack, but the sale rack. And so that has a lot to do with our self-worth. Are we worthy and deserving of paying full price for something? Are we worthy and deserving? It's like, if we're not worthy, if we don't think that we're worthy and deserving of paying full price for a shirt, how are we ever going to get into first class, right? And if you think about the people in first class, they're like, yeah, this is a necessity. I need my sleep. I need to be alert for the business meeting. I need to be fresh as a daisy when I show up at, you know, wherever I'm going or whatever they're doing. It's like, yeah, they take that first class ticket as this is needed for me, right? Um, and so if we're struggling back here in coach, if we're waiting for that shirt to go on sale, on sale, on sale, then that can be a, a limiting belief that we have. And then the other side of that coin is, so now you're trying to get a raise at work. You're trying to start your own business. You're trying to retire. You're trying to, you know, create your ideal reality. And yet you don't have that backup, that belief in yourself, that vibration, literally, that you're not on that frequency and that vibration of worthy and deserving. And this isn't a problem. This is just being aware of what's going on, because as soon as you're aware of it, now you get the option of going through it and saying, do I still want to believe this? What's the worst if I believe that I deserve first class? What's the worst that I deserve to believe that I could pay full price for that shirt? Because if you don't think you can pay full price for the shirt, you don't feel like you deserve first class, guess what's happening to your money? You're shrinking your value, but you're also shrinking your bank account. You're shrinking your receptibility. You're shrinking your, you know, I was going to say your footprint. But so we're also used to how we have to have a small footprint, but that doesn't mean our energy. That has something that's completely different. Our energy needs to expand, include, grow, evolve, and just be as wide open as it possibly can. Because if you're thinking about what is the thing we need the most in this world, air. Let's start there. Now, if you were only able to breathe through the tiniest straw to get your air, how well do you think you could be living, right? Let's all just take a deep breath just because we can right now. Feel it, fill your lungs and open up your chest and open up the capacity of allowing the biggest necessity in, right? So now if you just have those little, you're only allowed to take in so much. How well do you think you could live? Oh my goodness, what just happened? My computer screen is wigging out. Hopefully I'm still live. Hopefully this is still working. It's been going in and out all day. I don't know what it is. Anyway, I think we're still live. It's still giving me the live. If you're there, say hi. So glad, so grateful that you're here with me. Let me know if this resonates with you. Let me know if you have any questions or comments on it. So yeah, so when we start to believe that we deserve nice things, and here's another one. I have a little mentor group, and I was talking about how every time, even just within our little group, our safe haven, our sisterhood, even every time one of us mentions something about, well, we want to, one of them wants to write a book, and she goes, well, I don't want to be famous or anything. And one of us, I was, talking about how we're going to be, actually, I hurt my back last week and she hurt her neck. And I said, oh, we're energetically linked. And she goes, yeah, how come we can't make $1 million? And I said, that's next. And it I finally was aware that even amongst our safe haven and our little group, we don't talk about our big money goals without saying, well, because I want to help people, or because I want to, even when I talk about it, I'm like, yeah, well, I always picture myself donating to my favorite charity and helping my family and helping this and helping that. But I can't just say, I want $1 million. Now, there's two things about that. One, if you were just to say, I want $1 million, there's nowhere for that energy to flow, right? Energy goes where intention flows and all that kind of stuff. So yes, you want to follow that energy through so it has somewhere to flow. But that doesn't mean you have to validate it. Meaning, well, I want it because I can do stuff with it. You know what I mean? There's a difference between I want $1 million so I can be a millionaire, or so I can do things I want to, it's just like, because I'm worthy and deserving of it. And then, versus, well, I want $1 million so I can help this charity. And you see the difference there? Obviously, I'm exaggerating it a bit. But say it to yourself. And it may not be $1 billion. You may be like, I don't need $1 million, or I need a lot more than $1 million. So whatever that money goal is in your head, say it. I want $1 million because I want $1 million. Are you comfortable with that? Where does that lead? What does that feel like? And you should make that your mantra today and see how it sits with you. because so many times we're like, well, why do you want that? We have to justify it. We're on the defense about it. We have to, you know, validate the fact that we're good people and we want to use it for good purposes. But it's like the universe knows who we are in our hearts. And A, that's a validation that I just, you know, have to share because that's but B, money is neutral. It doesn't care if you're a good person. It doesn't, you know, I'm sure there's bad people out there with lots of money, and that's why so many people have that give, take, push, pull, you know, I want it but shouldn't have it kind of a feeling about it because, oh, well, money makes you bad. No, money is neutral, everybody. Money is just a vibration. It's just neutral. It doesn't go one way or the other. It's a robot. We are the ones who give it the vibration. We are the ones who make it positive or negative. We are the ones who it could be a magnifier, if you want to call it that, where if you are a good person with a lot of money, you could do a lot of good things with it. And then, but there is no real, I mean, yeah, you can be a bad person with a lot of money, but you'll still do a lot of good things with it, because when you spend money, right now, money's what makes the world go around. And every dollar that's spent, whether you're a good person or a bad person, that dollar goes to something, right? It goes to, you can feel it all the way to the farmer. You can feel it all the way to the car manufacturer. You can feel it all the way to the construction company. It's like, if you just feel how far the currency of a dollar can go and spread, and it, you know, every time you go to the grocery store, you're paying for the service of that clerk. You're paying for the food on that family's table. You're paying, you know, it's like, it's not just, can I afford this? Because as soon as we say, can I afford this? Do I deserve this? Then we are pinching off that energy to ourselves and to others and to everyone else. So, and when we feel like we have to validate it, and I know a lot of us growing up had, it's like, well, why do you want that? Oh, never mind, I don't. That was always like, I don't want it. You're right. I don't need that. Because it was like, but we're so on the defense of, meaning we're defensive, meaning we have to explain it, we have to justify it, we have to, you know, that, you know where I'm going with that. So that, and if you're in that sort of a vibration when you're asking about money, anytime you're on the defense about something, you're not in the vibration of receiving. Does that make sense? If you have to defend your answers, you're pinching yourself off. So anytime you feel like you're on the defense, then you are focused on what you don't want versus what you do want. You're focused on rejecting rather than receiving. So if someone just in anything, and I know a lot of us are on the defense so much because that's where we're coming from. That's where society has, you know, where everything we've been through, everything that we've learned, all the bullying, all of this, all of that. It's like our life has put us on the defense, but that's not really accurate. We're on the defense because that's what we learned, that's what we were programmed. So now it's time to unlearn that and reprogram something better, easier, more natural, more with the flow of life. And anytime you feel like you have to struggle for something, then that means you're bucking the current. You're trying too hard. You're actually going away from what you want. If it's hard, that means your focus is on what you don't want rather than what you do want. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments if that makes sense. And if you're feeling what I'm putting down. So, understanding that And being aware of that and understanding that, okay, so if I'm a perfectionist that won't buy stuff for myself, then I probably have low self-worth. And you're like, well, duh. So then what do you do about it? Do you go out and buy yourself a Lamborghini that you can't afford? No, because that's not in your, you know, wheelhouse. Or maybe it is. Do it if that is that what makes you feel good. But the point is, you need, once you become aware of it, now you start scripting or journaling, or but basically you're working on changing that frequency. You're working on changing your vibration. And you do a little bit, do I want this gum? Yes, buy the pack of gum, or something for $5, something for $10, something for $20, something for, a little bit out of reach but still within your budget. Because once again, I don't want you to become shopaholics. That is not does not show self-worth. It actually shows low self-worth as well, because now you have an addiction to shopping. So living outside your means, low self-worth. So it's about getting yourself into the frequency of self-worth, self-love, self-care, and then you'll notice that you have more to spend on what you want and what you value, and that. And I do know that I will spend money on things that I think is a good value. So, but, and I say that with pause, because do I? Because I only shop at Walmart, really, and Costco. And I remember walking into a JCPenney's, right? And I was sticker shocked. I was like, oh my God. And this was just a couple of years ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, these things are so expensive. And that's because I only shop at Walmart and Costco. And I'm like, oh, okay. So is this, I can see. But then you just talk to people and they're like, well, I won't step foot in a Walmart. I won't, because that's devaluing my self-worth, because it's a bargain basement store. And so you have to ask yourself, is that true? Do I feel comfortable with that? Is that what I want to be? Is that what I want to do? Is that, you know, is that my existence? And yes, and if that's the only place you shop, then you really have to ask yourself, okay, is that enough? Is that good enough? And granted, I'm only talking about groceries and, that kind of stuff. And I go to Walmart because it's convenient, because you can, get your paper towels and a t-shirt. But maybe, but do I buy the t-shirt at the full value, or do I wait for it to go on sale? I wait for it to go on sale, and not just sale, but clearance. And oh, if it's over $5, I won't buy it. um, until my husband forces me to. But I've told him once, these words actually came out of my mouth, I will spend $1 million on a pair of socks for him if they are what he wants. But for me, I wouldn't spend $1 on $1 million product if I couldn't justify it. So, interesting. Does that resonate with you? Does that ring a bell? Am I crazy? Is it just me? So, these are the things of expanding. So I don't know if I mentioned this in a video or whatever, but there's the other lady out there who offers a product similar to mine, and she charges $1 million a year to work with her, because she believes that she is worth $1 million. You know, how much really, you know, what could you really tell somebody in an hour call once a month for 12 months that could really, anyway, that's not my point. I'm not trying to belittle her. I'm just saying the value is out there, the money is out there, the worth is out there, the expansion is out there, but we have to do it for ourselves, right? And and then of course take away any of the judgment, which goes back to the away from value. Take away any of the judgment that we have about people who are doing that. So if you look at somebody who's walking around with, head to toe Gucci, and you're like, what's with them? Who do they think they are? What's that all about? That's your little shadow self saying, I need some attention right now. Because why aren't we walking around in Gucci? Why aren't we riding first class? Why don't we have a Lamborghini? Why, and it's sitting down with yourself and you're going to say, because I don't need it. Of course you don't need it. They don't need to be in head to toe Gucci. But, and not that that makes them, and then, like I said, none of this makes anybody a better person. But just so make sure that you get that out. That's all completely different than what I'm talking about. So make sure you're not going there. The point is valuing yourself, taking care of your needs, making sure your needs are met, and not having to justify it and be on the defense about it and worry about it, because all of those are just taking your vibrations down, down, down. So you can't feel happy, joy, bliss, love, freedom if you feel like you have to justify everything that you want to buy. That's my point, right? If you're down here and feeling guilty, shame, not good enough, if you have any remnants of this down here, you can't get up here. So then you look around your life and you're like, why is my life falling apart? Or how come, how do I get my kids in private schools? How do I get a safer house? How do I move out of the, whatever it is that you're going through right now? These are the clues. These are the breadcrumbs that you've left yourself that you get to work with. And it doesn't matter if you get the $1 million mansion on the hill. The point is the growth. The point is the learning. The point is the self evolution that you're doing for yourself, because it's all about the internal gain, the internal growth, the spiritual expansion that you do in this life. You can't take the mansion with you when you die, right? But you can feel that life experience. And just as I've told you before, when we impact up to 90,000 other people. So when we move up a notch, we impact 90,000 other people with that positivity, with that growth, with that moving up. So, but if we don't feel like we're worth it, then we're down here, and that's not helping anybody. Does that make sense? Am I justifying it? No, maybe. No, but I'm telling you, you are worth it. You deserve it. I always say you deserve a life full of love, magic, and miracles, because I want you to know that you deserve to feel free and fun and lighthearted and wonderful, and love what you do and love the life you're living and love your surroundings and love being outside or inside and just breathing and just living with exhilaration and honest and true understanding that when you see something you don't like, it's to let you know you can create something better, right? And when you're in the flow of creativity and creating your ideal reality, and we are creators, and so we create these energies and this passion and this love and this fun and all this kind of stuff. But when we don't feel we have self-worth and we're so worried about being perfect and we're so worried about, oh, I can't afford that. And we're so worried about, fitting into this box of some, this imaginary box that doesn't even exist, that, when we have to justify ourselves if we want to, step outside the box, all that is just keeping ourselves repressed. And that leads to, repressed depression, sadness, grief, anger, and any of those lower frequencies, right? And like, as I was saying, anytime you have these anchors, these low vibrational anchors tied around you, they're keeping you from your natural state of being, which is happiness, freedom, bliss, love, joy, prosperity, abundance of everything good. So we are the ones who get to control that for ourselves. And these are all just little, hopefully helpful hints that I'm giving you on how to switch your energy so you feel that, because everyone deserves that. We all deserve that. We all deserve to feel worthy and valued and respected and loved. But here's the thing, it's not going to come from outside. It's not going to come from head to toe Gucci. You have to do it from within. And anything you feel you're lacking in your life, love, respect, abundance, joy, prosperity, it's lacking from, you're not giving it to yourself. It's lacking from within. You have to go within first, right? So then how do you go within? And that's what I've said. You script, you journal, you meditate, you practice, you daydream, to get your favorite beverage and you sit there and just appreciate it for as long as you possibly can. And just go, yes, I can breathe air. Yes, I can take a sip of this delicious beverage. Yes, I deserve this. Yes, I'm creating it for myself. And when I know how to create it for myself, other people will follow suit. All right? So, okay. Do you have any questions on that? Do you like that? Does that feel good to you? Does that inspire you? Does that move you? Does that, anger you? Does that, what do you think about that? Is that anything, let's see if there's any comments. Oh. So, okay. So yes. So I keep mentioning scripting and journaling. What is the difference? Scripting is creating your life the way you want it to be. Meaning you start by saying, I'm so grateful and thankful for, and then you start writing out. It's actually, it works if you start by talking about things that you actually do have that you are grateful and thankful for, and getting yourself into that higher vibration. So if you can start by saying, if you have a dog or, something you love. So you want to think about something you love, think about something that makes you happy, think about something that you can love and appreciate right now, right? And then you start going on about how you love your life, you love your job, you love the money, you're so grateful and thankful that you're making $1 million a year, you're so grateful and thankful, whatever. So, and then you actually script it as how you want it to turn out. Does that make sense? So you're like, I always say, you're writing a letter from your future self to yourself about how things have gone, because now you're playing with the time and you're creating it the way you want it to go. But you're so grateful and thankful first. Journaling is, okay, now these are just my opinions. I'm sure you could ask 10 different people, you get 10 different answers. But journaling, in my opinion, is okay. I really have this, so I have this limiting belief about self-worth. You know, I can't go shopping for myself. So you start out by saying, okay, I've just discovered I have a shadow, a limiting belief shadow about self-worth. And then you talk yourself through it. You want, instead of saying, you know, you don't talk yourself down, you actually talk yourself up. You build yourself up. And you say, okay, so I've just discovered this. I no longer want this. I no longer need this. I may have picked it up from my mother or my father, or, you know, this was something that we went through in childhood, or, you know, whatever. But now I'm ready to let it go. And then you talk yourself into the point of, does it make sense to hold on? Do you need it anymore? Is it still valuable in your life? And then you just like, you know, you want to end on the high note where you've actually talked yourself from this point to this point. Does that make sense? So they're probably pretty similar, interchangeable, possibly. Scripting, journaling, so I say both of them. But the point is, it's actually very helpful when you get things out on paper. A blue pen on white paper is a mental thing that's very, very powerful. Some people don't like writing, so they like typing. That's fine too. It's kind of like writing the letter and then never sending it, but it's just, it literally does get it off your chest. It also makes you aware of it, and it also talks you through it. So I hope those are helpful for you. Let me know what your experience with that is. And if there's anything else that you have questions about. I was trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to mention. As you can see, I have journals, notebooks, calendar. You can't see my calendars, but you know, I have it all right here. So let me know if that was helpful. Let me know if you like that. In the meantime, thank you so much for being here. Stay tuned. In 2 weeks, we are going to do a 5-day challenge, Discover Your Destiny. Let me know if that sounds like fun to you. It's free, 5-day challenge. It'll be in an email, so I'm going to drop a link to the opt-in page in the next couple of days or so. It won't be in, it'll all be done in YouTube and email. Well, not all of it, but just to let you know. Some of it will be in here, but mostly it'll be email and YouTube. And then we'll work together in here. Does that make sense? Okay, so, all right, my beautiful beloved creators, thank you so much for being here today. Always remember to follow your bliss, live your passion, and create your success, because life is what we make it, so let's make it wonderful. And as I mentioned before, always, always, always remember that you deserve a life full of love, magic, and miracles. Okay? This is an enchanting planet that we live on, and explore the earthly delights and love yourself and love the world. So, thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I will see you next Monday.